I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Donald Trump is going to be sued again based on statements he made during the so-called CNN town hall about E Jean Carroll. For those who have been following our coverage here on the MeidasTouch Network, we've been saying and predicting that based on the defamatory statements that Donald Trump made about E Jean Carroll at the so-called CNN town hall after Trump lost the defamation lawsuit in New York federal court, where he further defamed E Jean Carroll's reputation and doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down on the defamatory statements that he was just found liable for. We said that E Jean Carroll, through her lawyer Roberta Kaplan, was going to sue him again based on those statements. And we also talked about how a new lawsuit would likely be related and fold into an existing lawsuit that E Jean Carroll had filed against Donald Trump that had yet to go before the jury. What we described, and I'll explain it again right here, is that the case that E Jean Carroll won, where she received a $5 million judgment, which is still yet to be collected because Donald Trump filed an appeal, but that case we've referred to here, and the courts referred to as E Jean Carroll 2. That case involved the defamatory statements Donald Trump made in October of 2022, as well as claims that E Jean Carroll filed under New York's Adult Survivors Act for the underlying conduct of the sexual assault that took place during the mid-1990s. That case was actually filed after the first defamation case that E Jean Carroll filed that was caught up in an appeals process, and that case was referred to as E Jean Carroll 1, and that case involved the defamatory statements that Donald Trump made while he was still in office, and Donald Trump asserted various immunities. Bill Barr tried to substitute the United States in place of Donald Trump. There were various appeals, and finally, through the Second Circuit Court of Appeals and then a Washington, D.C. Court of Appeals, ultimately that case found its way back to Judge Lewis Kaplan, the federal judge who's overseeing all of these E Jean Carroll defamation cases, and that case was set to proceed and go before a jury, with the E Jean Carroll 2 case to be tried first, because all of the issues would be streamlined. If E Jean Carroll prevailed in E Jean Carroll 2, there would be preclusive effect on the ultimate liability in E Jean Carroll 1, since a jury would have made the factual findings that Donald Trump engaged in the underlying conduct and defamed E Jean Carroll on virtually identical statements. The statements Trump made in October of 2022 on his social media platform basically mirrored the statements that he made while he was in office, and because he was in office, he was able to delay that through the various appeals processes. And what we've been talking about here is after Donald Trump lost E Jean Carroll 2 before the federal jury, and they awarded $5 million, Donald Trump goes on the so-called town hall. He makes the same defamatory statements, and we said that would be merged into E Jean Carroll 1, and that E Jean Carroll would be seeking additional damages based on the statements he made. I mean, look, she had just prevailed in a jury trial. She reclaimed her reputation, and then Donald Trump went on CNN in front of 3.3 million people and proceeded to defame her on the exact thing he was just found liable for. And Roberta Kaplan, E Jean Carroll's lawyer, gave notice on Monday in a federal filing, in a letter and a concurrently filed motion to amend, that she intended to amend the lawsuit. I'll show you the amendments that she's seeking to add the statements that Donald Trump made during the so-called town hall, where he further defamed E Jean Carroll. Pull up the letter first. This is dated May 22nd, 2023. It's addressed to Judge Lewis Kaplan, and it states, "Dear Judge Kaplan, we write on behalf of plaintiff E Jean Carroll to propose a schedule for further proceedings in the above referenced action." They talk about various topics to streamline the process, but for purposes of this video, I want to talk about 3 and 4, items 3 and 4 that are talked about in this letter. Item 3 is the implications of the recent jury verdict in the Carroll v. Trump Carroll 2 2 action and Carroll's concurrently filed motion to amend her complaint. And so let's go to implications of the verdict in Carroll 2. Just 4 days after the Second Circuit remanded Carroll 1, trial began in Carroll 2. After a 2-week trial, the jury determined that Trump had committed battery and defamation and awarded plaintiff $5 million in compensatory and punitive damages. On their face, the defamatory statements at issue in Carroll 1 and Carroll 2 are materially identical. Moreover, the core question underlying the defamation claim in both actions is, quote, whether Trump sexually assaulted Miss Carroll. As a result, the preclusive effect of the Carroll 2 jury verdict leaves nothing to resolve with respect to the merits of the Carroll 1 defamation claim beyond the amount of Carroll's damages. Resolution of then it goes on to other things. Before moving to the next topic regarding the amendment, let me just show you a few weeks ago just a portion of the video I made where I talked about the preclusive effect, so you can see that the language that we were telling you about several weeks ago, identical to what E Jean Carroll's lawyers are now saying. Here, play this clip. The finding made by the jury already would likely have preclusive effect on a future ability of Donald Trump to try to argue that the conduct didn't take place. So already the falsity element of Donald Trump's statement would be established. And the importance of why I'm showing you that clip is I want to let you know how deeply researched these videos are and how we are able to kind of accurately predict the next moves that the lawyers are going to be making. Okay, going to the next part of the letter, proposed amended complaint. It says, concurrently with the filing of this letter, Carroll has moved to amend her complaint in the present action. The proposed amendment seeks to facilitate the resolution of the scope of employment issue. The proposed amendment also adds allegations concerning the verdict in Carroll 2, because obviously it has that preclusive effect, which is important, concerning the verdict in Carroll 2 and Trump's public response to that verdict, which involved repeating on CNN the statements the Carroll 2 jury found to be defamatory, allegations that we believe are now directly relevant to the issue of punitive damages on the defamation claim in Carroll 1. Punitive damages in relations to a libel claim, the defamation claim, may be awarded to punish a defendant, and what they're showing is that the statements that were made on CNN further enhance the underlying damages regarding the Carroll 1 case. And then if you go to the portions that they're seeking to amend or add in the underlying lawsuit, we can pull up right here. Paragraph 17 and 18 talk about the jury verdict, that this is what they want to add to the existing lawsuit. On May 9, 2023, after a 2-week trial in the Southern District of New York, a 9-person jury found that Trump sexually abused Carroll and that his 2022 statements denying the assault were defamatory. It goes on to talk about in paragraphs 156, 157, 158, 159, 160, and 161 all talk about the trial proceedings and what took place. But then if you go to section 10, it says, Trump again denies sexually abusing Carroll and makes a slew of false, insulting claims about her. 164, 165, 166 through paragraphs 174 all talk about what went down on the CNN town hall where Donald Trump further defamed her, and they have all of the specific quotes that Donald Trump stated during that so-called town hall about her, which is now being utilized here as part of an amended complaint to seek more damages from the jury. And I think that is something that a jury will absolutely award. I mean, the jury awarded nearly $5 million for all the conduct in E Jean Carroll 2. Think about what the jury is going to award here. And when we talked about preclusive effect, remember what we mean here. Basically, the fact that the finding by the jury automatically establishes liability. So what Roberta Kaplan, what E Jean Carroll's lawyer is saying, for all these future cases where Donald Trump repeatedly defames her, we don't need to put on a whole trial. It's just going to be an issue of monetary damages. And so we're just going to go ask for a number, X millions of dollars or X tens of millions of dollars. And then every time he makes a statement, let the jury award more and more and more money. And obviously there's punitive damages here, that this is the height of malice, that he is repeating these allegations after he lost the trial there. I'll just show you this clip as well, where we also predicted that E Jean Carroll was going to make this move. Play this clip.
Pathetic.
I don't even want to show the clip where he attacks E Jean Carroll, because frankly, it is that disgusting and that triggering what he says about her. And I think she's going to sue for another defamation case. I mean, her lawyers
should. That'd be awesome.
She absolutely should. There you have it, folks. E Jean Carroll amending the complaint to include these additional allegations from the so-called town hall. A big step in the right direction, again, for justice. And as we continue to call Donald Trump, these MAGA Republicans, professional rake steppers, they continue to dig the hole deeper because they exist in a world outside of our judicial system. They hate law and order, and they want to create unlawful disorder. That is what they're trying to create. But fortunately, judges like Judge Lewis Kaplan and lawyers like Roberta Kaplan and American heroes like E Jean Carroll are making sure to bring accountability and justice to horrific, despicable people like Donald Trump and other MAGA Republicans. I'm Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Hit subscribe. We're on our way to 1.5 million subscribers, thanks to your awesome support. Check us out at patreon.com/MeidasTouch, patreon.com/MeidasTouch. We got a lot of great memberships there. And in addition, you can check us out wherever you get audio podcasts. Subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast. It is free. And subscribe right here to our YouTube channel. It is free. Have a great day.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.